All right, you ready to get into this bad boy?
Oh yeah.
No
Oh
idea how
yeah.
I want to
Let's do it.
structure it, but let's look at like I was just curious on what roster moves you think NA is gonna have. We'll start NA since we're both NA fanboys, right?
Okay.
By no means that anything we say is like, I feel like this is like a fucking disclaimer at the bottom of the stream. All of these situations were hypothetical, and we have no flying fucking clue what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Let me get the. I'm gonna pull up the list here from HLTV real quick.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're number 7. Let's go. All right, so I think the liquid one's pretty straightforward, right? Like breaking down the
Yeah.
liquid
FalleN.
roster. Yeah, FalleN.
I should know. So I should know more after year end. I'm hopefully gonna write a report up if and when I find out that the contract is signed. If they don't already like announce it. But from what I understand, like holidays are rough. I know they've been working on it, so that should be something. And I haven't been told otherwise right now, so I am being safe to assume that FalleN is still the priority target, and it should be done soon.
Yeah, I would say
that's the one. There was discussion though. This discussion of Stewie leaving, which I found interesting. I had heard that as well. A lot of the discussion came from not that Stu might want to leave, that Stu is going to get kicked.
I don't have any juice on the FalleN stuff, but or only the FalleN stuff. One thing I would say is not somebody from the team and not somebody related to the CS roster said that the FalleN, they watched the video about us talking about the FalleN move to Liquid, and they weren't denying it, but they were saying that the talks weren't nearly as far ahead as you were making it out to seem. They said that the agent that represents FalleN was making things extremely, I don't want to say difficult, but the process was taking much longer, I think, than a lot of Liquid expected it to. From
that could be fair.
So it might not be as close. So let's just play a hypothetical real quick.
Okay.
If we wanted somebody besides FalleN to fill out this roster, who would be your number 2 guy if you were Liquid, if you were targeting somebody? Anywhere. It doesn't have to
Vanity.
be in a...
Has to be Vanity, but it has to be Vanity in my opinion. It has to be. There's no one else.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I just don't even think they've like given him a whiff. Like I think Liquid, whether it's ego, whatever, like I think you and I hold Vanity in higher regard than Liquid does. And who's right and who's wrong is a different debate. But I think
we're right.
Yeah, we're right. That's just, like,
we're right. Everyone else is an idiot. We know the best of what to do in NA.
Yeah, fucking A. People saying Kusta. I mean, Kusta did end up calling for Gen G and has opted in the past, but I think Liquid's past with Kusta is going to hinder that immensely.
Kusta is probably not likely anymore for Liquid. If they want Kusta, they've missed the train. The train has left the station on that.
Oh, is that? Oh,
Kusta's already in talks with the other teams
for CSGO.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, that's so cool. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
those talks are on the way. What
do you think about an autimatic to Liquid? I personally don't think Tim would be that sick of a fit. I've talked about this a lot. Like, I think Tim has been a really, 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 really good. I think Tim's been fantastic, like, as an operator. I actually think he gets a lot of shit. When they first forced, like, full-time opping on Tim, I wasn't a huge fan.
But did they? I don't think hold on. Let's go back. I don't think they forced it on him. He wanted to do it. It was his idea.
On Cloud9?
Yeah.
It felt more like it happened out of necessity, not out of want.
I think it happened out of necessity, but then it was something that he wanted to.
Well, he was owning. Yeah. I mean, he turned up on the C9 roster and was like actually a star for C9 opping for them. And then Gen G, not so much. Like Gen G was a bit quieter. Still a really good performer though. So I think like I don't know. I don't know if I like Tim on that team just because I think Tim. They just need an IGL, man. And I don't think Tim's necessarily a bad one. But you got a lot of people on this roster that just need one person to rally behind. And I just don't know if Tim's that guy. I like, they just need somebody that is like the guy. They need the guy that is going to be a caller every single round for them. And then Stu's the guy that helps that guy. And that's like that's
Well,
how
I
that
think
should go down.
I mean it's going to be really interesting to see what happens going forward with this team if FalleN does become more difficult. When the confidence that I was given in saying how close it was came from a source that was obviously close with the team, and
Yeah.
so the Liquid camp was very confident of it happening. And
Yeah.
so
Well, I think that's what Liquid wants, like for sure. Like
right.
Liquid wants FalleN, and that's like it just seems more like, does FalleN have something else better on the table that he might think is a better fit for him? I think is
right.
what, because he's got, from what Liquid was saying, it sounded like he had, I think saying multiple offers is an understatement. It sounds like FalleN's just literally sitting here like he's got like the like a full fucking whiteboard of like teams that he, because there's so many teams that need an IGL right now. Like they're like, his stock is through the roof, you know, because it's not, he's also, for one, he's FalleN. Two, the amount of teams that like need an IGL just feels immense right now. Or a lot of teams maybe just playing with the idea of having a different IGL. So
right.
CeRq to Liquid.
I think it'll be interesting. CeRq to, oh my god, a CeRq to Liquid. If you know, okay, so this brings us to an interesting question. What if we did a shuffle? What if we did a little bit of a shuffle in NA? Say no restrictions. If you just reorganized the Liquid, EG,
rosters.
Chaos, and Triumph. Yeah.
Oh, and you put Chaos and Triumph in there? I don't know if we should really put Chaos in there too much, because I think a lot of those players are, well, I think two of them are very keen on Valorant. So
yes,
two of them being very keen on Valorant and just kind of like in there, and then the other three, the other three, I don't really know if they would get involved in that shuffle like too much. I can see maybe Triumph, but I don't think, it's kind of a similar situation with like the Vanity situation where like you can make an argument for Sheikh Zula, but how much merit does EG and Liquid give
Sheikh?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like I think,
do they, hold on, let me make a great pun. Do they give him a fair shake?
I will literally end this stream right now. I swear to God. I will leave right now. But yeah, okay. No, I mean, I think if I was like doing the shuffle, I mean, you could go either direction. I think CeRq onto Liquid could actually work. There's just one problem, and it's the same problem that Cloud9 ran into when Stu and CeRq were together. Is they're the same, very similar player. Like you have two players that are like irreplaceable on their teams individually because they serve such a strong role in opening rounds for their team, being the guy that will go in first and create space, and also providing reads for the IGL. The reason why that Cloud9 roster, I would argue, was so successful on that run in Boston is because of CeRq and Stewie's ability to be, they create so much space. But when that shit but it can go backwards quickly, is like when you have CeRq and Stu both going in and making a lot of space on opposite sides of the map, and they might have two conflicting ideas. They might both be getting clapped. Like that happens. Like they could both just go down early. I think like the CeRq Stu combo could work. It's definitely worked in the past. It's just also, I feel, a bit more inconsistent. And then you go down the path of IGLs again. It's like, well, your only options are really Vanity and Shake. And I don't think, I don't think Liquid gives any of, like, I just don't think they give him any credit.
So, okay, how about this? What if you did automatic to EG instead of CeRq?
Automatic to EG instead of CeRq. Well, CeRq, it was rumored that CeRq was definitely like, it wasn't that he was unhappy on EG, but I think he just wanted to be back in Europe, right? Was my understanding.
I think it would honestly make a little bit of sense. I think CeRq wanting to be back in Europe, he can go to whatever top team that he wants to. He's an
exactly. He's an unbelievable player, and he can finally like. This has always been the problem with European players in North America, and it's props to CeRq, because first off, CeRq has been a fucking staple of this roster, steady.
He's
never
like,
been any issues. No, he's super young. See, I don't know how old he is, but he's very, very young.
He is.
Let me look. I'll just
20, 21.
21.
He's 21. It was his birthday, December 7th, 1999. So he's 21.
Yes.
And think about how long that he's been in NA since NRG in 2017. Like 3 years. So from 18 to 21, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's not like he's like jumping ship or didn't give it like a fair, shot. I think he's just like anybody rationally would. He knows that he could find his way onto a pro team in Europe, and he might be considering it. Like,
I wouldn't blame him.
I wouldn't. I don't think anybody would. I don't even think his teammates would. I don't think anybody. If CeRq was just like tomorrow, like, hey guys, I got an offer from European squad and I want to take it, kind of thing. Everybody's like, yeah, we got it. Like it's, and I think Tim would actually be a good fit for them. Yeah.
It'd be an interesting, I think it would be a really interesting fit.
I think his style's a bit different from CeRq's. I think Tim's very much more of like a role-playing op player, or CeRq is much more active, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that would be like a dynamic change, because I think a big part of like opening frags on EG is CeRq and CeRq, and Ethan and Breeze are like human aimbots. Like I would treat them always like I would treat a Liege, which is they have incredible skill ceilings where like as long as they just don't get fucking shot through a smoke or drop hella util on, and if Ethan and Breeze get into any bomb site like clean, the round's over, in my opinion. Just like a Liege.
So
like
good.
Yeah, like once
they're
you
so good.
So when you lose the dynamic of like one slightly more aggressive player in CeRq, and you have Tim, it could change the team in a positive or negative way. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The other, okay, so yeah, so that would be an interesting idea. I think someone in chat said, "What if you did Junior to Liquid?" I don't hate that idea. I think Junior's not there yet, but I don't hate that idea.
I don't think that's a terrible idea, but you still run into the problem where I personally think Liquid will be a far more successful team if they put somebody in the IGL role to let Stu go back to his old role. Because I just think Stu is so good in that role. Like, fuck. I don't want to see him in any other role. Maybe that's selfish of me, or maybe like my bad judgment of how the roster operates, but I just think that Stu having the weight of the IGL position and is like the space creator for the team is too much. I think it's too much. It's too much. And it leads to inconsistent results of Liquid. I think if you got rid of Twistzz to just pick up Junior, while you did solve the Opera problem, you didn't solve the bigger problem in my mind, which is the IGL.
Right, but I think we need to reframe the idea of Liquid getting rid of Twistzz. Twistzz seemed very confident and happy to be
I mean, away. It seemed very neutral, like, but still, at the same time,
they needed to change. They needed to replace. They never replaced Nitro, which was the issue. They never replaced Nitro, and I think that their failure to do so has obviously led to stumbling blocks and the same repetitive stuff that they've been doing. Yeah, MCE saying, MCE is saying in chat, no troll, we scrimmed Liquid when they were playing with FalleN, and they were fucking disgustingly good. I think that might have been back when it was the whole practice. I don't think he's been scrimming.
No, he was talking about that before when we talked about this. Well, let's move on from Liquid. I think we both kind of agree. There's other moves that Liquid could make. They could do a shuffle, but at the end of the day, I kind of agree with the Liquid management. I mean, I think FalleN, they have to make FalleN work, because there's very little that makes sense. If you're not going to give Vanity a shot at that roster, which, that's like a whole nother argument. If you're not gonna do that, that's fine. I just think you have to go and get FalleN. I don't think there's many other players that make sense. Right. Now, going to EG, do you think that they should make any changes whatsoever?
I don't think that they have to. I think so. That's the problem, right? Is that exactly what do you change? And I don't know.
Yeah,
because it's very difficult to figure out, like, what are you upgrading? Where are you upgrading?
I have no idea where they could actually make the
only idea to me is, has Stan gotten a little stale? Like, I
would say yes. I would also say though that this year of Counter-Strike for IGLs may have been some of the hardest we've seen, because of how many matches you have to play and how quickly you can get figured out, and how little, like, it's hard for an IGL to be creative or like unique in approaches when you have a match the next day and you're playing a team that you've played 12 times. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I agree with you. I think EG is stale. Like, I think their approach and their tactics are like the same shit we see all the time. But I just don't know how much you can actually reinvent your team or roster in like the current way we have the calendar. And that is an excuse because I think other teams did, but they did it in other ways. Like, we've seen Vitality have different approaches. We've seen, you know, Vitality to me is the team that did that the most, but yeah, they used another player to do it. You know what I mean? They had a whole different approach to certain maps, and they based that around bringing Nivera into op. And it was really unique and good, but I just don't. If you play, yeah, they really did play, you know, the same teams over and over and over again, and you're practicing against those same teams. So, like,
right,
how you're supposed to bring something new, I just think is really
just kind of impossible.
Yeah, it feels fucked from the start. So I don't think you get rid of Stan. I think if EG rolls out 2021 and, you know, knock on wood, we have events rolling in like the third quarter of the year and the fourth, and it's the same EG that we've been looking at for like a year and a half, then yeah, then that's like when you start going, okay, maybe we switch out IGLs because we just haven't fucking changed. And, you know, but you have to give them some time because there just isn't a way to really test things or try new approaches right now without somebody either seeing it in practice beforehand, or you've played a team so many times that the new approach is just the same one that you've been using again because you've just played 10 times. You know?
You really need to go with 6 men. I think Vitality have kind of proven that this year, of like going with six men have really allowed them to be so much more dynamic and really.
I think Vitality is the only one that's done that, though. To be fair, I hate the
Astralis is. It's frustrating how Astralis isn't doing the same thing.
No, yeah, they're doing the opposite. They're doing exactly what I hate. Like, no, they didn't pioneer. Hold on, no. Let's not call it pioneering when they just didn't want to have their team sit out from tournaments because their players were burnt out. So they signed 3 players. That is not pioneering the role. That was just trying to spin it as a way of not saying our players are extremely burnt out and don't want to play right now. Yeah. So let's not call that pioneering. And it's very obvious that they didn't pioneer it because we see how they use Bubsky. They just fucking put him at ramp. And he stares at it and rotates lower when he gets pressured. He's not doing anything. They're just putting in a different player. Like,
it kind of sucks. It really is actually.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. If anybody pioneered the 6-man roster, it's Vitality.
You're gonna set the history books and say it was Vitality.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Astralis. Like, like you didn't do shit with that. Like, absolutely not. No, Vitality absolutely changed it. And Navi and Astralis.
Can you say that Astralis was the first one to do it, but Vitality was?
Yeah, no, Vitality truly embraced the 6-man roster and found a unique way to use the 6-man.
No. The real 8-man, 9-man rosters, though, that will always belong to NAMDL. That's really where I think NA has always been ahead of the game there. So
ZNF brings up a good point. Mythic actually had 6 for the longest time. Thank you guys, appreciate it. ZNF best 6-man.
Someone in chat wants me to confirm if the Twistzz move was initiated by him or Team Liquid. I can't say if it was I don't want to like say who it was initiated by. I think both. It was the most agreed upon parting that I have covered in a long time. Like, I've never really seen two kind of players be like two parties be like, this entirely makes sense, me leaving this team, and the team being, this entirely makes sense, you leaving this. Like, and it wasn't like a snap decision. It wasn't like we sat down in this meeting room and we made the decision now. It was like kind of a long time coming for both of them.
It's like one person finally said it. It's like they both have been sitting here thinking it, and then who said it first doesn't really matter because they both were down for it.
Because it both was like, the second that someone was like, hey, what if we did this? The answer was yes.
Like, yeah, sure, fuck it, yeah.
It was like, so.
Going back to the EG roster, I don't think there's many changes. We could circle back here a little bit. Where do you think Twistzz will land? Okay, where do you think he will land?
Sports.
Okay, but or what I was gonna say is, where do you think he will land, and where do you think the best one he lands at? You get what I'm saying? So where's the best place for him to go, but where's the place that you think he most likely goes? I'll go first, and I'll say I want him to be an OG or in Mouse. I'm not sure which player I'd replace necessarily, but in terms of strong IGL presence, and I think he'd slot in very well for a couple of the players. I think OG and Mouse make the most sense for him. don't know if he's actually going to get access to those rosters because I don't know how willing they are to make a change.
So we know with FaZe that Olaf is retiring again. So we know that.
But Twistzz isn't an IGL.
But Twistzz isn't an IGL. But I think Cold's calling on that team. So Twistzz going to FaZe wouldn't be the worst.
Didn't he literally say that they're getting a captain and a sports psychologist? Like, to me, listen,
well,
you don't want
FaZe
to do 2.0 of the Nico situation where you have your best player in the roster IGLing. Like, I really, really, really hope that FaZe does not do the same shit again. Like, they haven't realized that this just doesn't work. Like, no way we're just creating the situation times 2.
Yeah. Okay, how about this? If the rumors from earlier this year where Mousesports undergoes changes because Caribbean leaves and he takes Rops with him and they go to FaZe, then you're having Twistzz slide into Mousesports, and then Mousesports needs to pick up who exactly? A new IGL?
You said Kerrigan.
Do they pick up one of whoever FaZe has to drop in order to have Kerrigan and Drops?
Hold on, I didn't hear what you said. So the rumor was Rops and Kerrigan go to FaZe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Kerrigan wanted out of Mouse was like the rumor, right?
All right. So then does Mousesports take Twistzz and whoever is the odd man out of FaZe because Olaf is retiring? So FaZe only does a -1, a +2, and then Mouse needs to do a +2 with one of them being Twistzz.
Maybe. I just hope for Twistzz. Like, I really don't want Twistzz to go into any roster where there isn't like a solid IGL. I think we saw Twistzz like as a top 10 player in the world, literally one of the most high skill ceilings I think we've ever witnessed on a player came from Twistzz, like in the rifling position. But that comes off of like Nitro and Stewie, like they were, that whole team was just rock solid environment wise, and I think leadership wise when that was going on. And I think if he goes into any situation where the IGL isn't like, I think he could just be slotted into any system basically, as long as it's there and perform. That would be my worry. If he goes to Mouse where they don't have Kerrigan and they're trying to get an IGL role, or like maybe they slot Chris back to IGLing, I don't know. I think that would be not good, in my opinion. That would not be good for this Twistzz, from Twistzz perspective.
I have an idea. I have a crazy idea.
I think the Kerrigan Rops to FaZe though is good, but I think for Twistzz that would suck.
What if you did Twistzz to Complexity for config?
Ooh, fuck.
That's an upgrade. Okay. Config is great. Let's not like config is great. Config is a great player, but like,
you wouldn't go after somebody else on that roster.
Who? Rush? Blame F loves Rush so much.
I know.
It's insane.
Rush.
So there's no way that you can't move Rush because
goddamn American players is like just go in no matter what. Yeah, I know. It's because and you tell a North American player to go in first, and they just go, and you're like, shit, I didn't think you'd go that fast. No, yeah, the only
you can't remove Poison, you can't remove Blame F, and JKS just got there, so there's no reason for him to leave.
Yeah, I know, but Config had a monster year, bro.
Config had a great year, but was that year above expectation? And do you think that he's going to replicate that form? Or do you bet on the buy? You sell high of Config. You sell him to sell. Okay, crazy idea. What if you sold Config to OG, right?
Okay.
For someone like Issa.
Okay.
You sell him high and you buy low on Twistzz. Right? You're hoping with the Twistzz buy that you're replicating the number 9 player of the year in 2019, and you're selling high of config to OG with the idea that either he's as good or maybe he regresses a little bit. Well, yeah, of course, these are unrealistic roster talks. These are absolutely insane things.
We're meant to be theory crafting, so don't just like
don't run with this. I don't want to see any crazy.
We're just trying. We're going full hypothetical in here, and chat knows how I feel about it, but it's fine. I think there's no way in hell Complexity will do this hypothetical, because at the end of the day, they've had too much instability to end the year, and what made them so good was their stability and growing as a team and how many reps they got in. So I think nobody on that team is going to be willing to part with anyone, because they're just trying to get back to where they were before, which is, I think the way Blame F approaches the game and treats his team is like, he wants everybody to grind as hard as he does, and that whole team did. And I don't think they'll want to make any roster moves until they're actually stable again and actually slump. Complexity in my mind was probably like, if I think of the best teams of 2020 and what they were able to accomplish, Complexity's up there in my mind because they went
really
from
though?
Yeah, because they went from a roster with absolutely nothing, right? So they put in, what was it, like 90 maps in like, no, 110 maps in like 90 days, and they peaked at what, like top 5? And
Yeah, they
and then
did.
obviously,
Was that after like the spring thing?
yeah, and there was like the whole drama, don't get me wrong, with like Obo and
No,
stuff
that was
like
in
that.
September. They peaked.
And then they had Poison having like outside issues and then the emergency surgery. So in my mind, Complexity was like insanely good until they started having stability issues. You know what I mean? Nothing to do with players or roles on the team. So if I'm Jason Lake, I don't touch that roster at all. I wouldn't make a single move. There's no, unless it's somebody for Poison, because Poison obviously has been having, I'm not sure what's going on, but he's just been having a lot of outside shit, you know, that's been, I think, affecting in server, out of server, all that shit. So if there was anybody, it would just be for Poison because of the lack of stability in my mind. So I think Twistzz, I think we both kind of agree that Mousesports or OG kind of would be the perfect fit for Twistzz. We just don't really know how it would happen.
No, it's going to be weird. It's going to be, the thing is, there's going to be a lot of moves coming in next week. I think a lot of contracts are up. A lot of teams are going to start rethinking about the roster, or thinking about the rosters for 2021. A lot of rosters are focusing on COVID and what money they have and what they can do. So like, I would not be surprised to see probably, I would say like the top 5 teams: Astralis, Vitality, Navi, Big, Heroic. I could see at least probably 2 teams in there making changes somehow, maybe somewhat permanently, and then at least like more changes within top 10. And then once you get out, it's like you're seeing a lot more. I know NA is going to be a wild shit fest of everything. And then there's also that what is it, that fnatic move or whatever they're adding.
Oh yeah, the 6-man, right? But then it was also rumored that they're like making a permanent change kind of thing, right?
Like, is he a 6-man or is it a permanent move? Like, I forget.
I don't remember. Fuck.
It's really weird. I don't know.
Okay.
That's the thing, is that
Jack is 6 in fnatic. Now I'm getting this information directly from my sideline reporters of Twitch chat. They're known to be they're a little hit or miss. But I think there's some, I think Jack is signed. I think I remember him being signed. I'm pretty sure.
Did they like officially? I don't think they officially announced it.
Okay, maybe they didn't.
I don't think they did. I don't think fnatic made an official announcement.
Oh wait, Golden said on HLTV fnatic would never have a 6-man roster because of the personalities of the roster.
So then maybe someone's out. If this move ends up happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Fnatic's always weird. They always got like, I don't know. Fnatic is one of those rosters where I never agree with anything that they're doing. It always seems random as fuck, and it somehow also simultaneously, after like a few months, works out. So I don't know. Like I have,
it's like all comes together.
I'd be the first one to admit that when it comes to the Fnatic roster, I have no clue what's happening. Like I have
Golden was going to get kicked, and then they win 2 events in a row.
Yeah, and then they did kick him. Then they bring him back. like I don't know what the fuck's going on. Thoughts on Extremum? Isn't that an org?
Extremum. I don't know how to freaking say it. People, it's so weird. They, I think, whatchamacallit, they have signed the guys. They've signed the guys, and Jacob is the 4th, and now they're just looking for a 5th. Twistzz going to them wouldn't be out of the question. I don't know how much money they have.
I don't even know who's on that fucking roster.
It's the X100T boys.
Oh, that's right. Okay. No, I don't hate that. They need that JKS player, like, desperately.
Which could be Twistzz.
Yeah. Like, that would actually, yeah.
I mean, it could
that
work.
might be a
It
really
could
good
work.
fit for Twistzz.
It's not crazy. It's really not crazy. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, no, like actually, shout out Twitch chat. I mean, they didn't say that necessarily, but they reminded me of the roster that exists, and you told me who it was. No, I don't hate that at all. Actually, I think Twistzz. You know, from
I think it's a
with
good.
Adren, knowing how a Twistzz is in a team environment, you know, Adren's words, not mine. Twistzz is too fucking nice sometimes when they're in the team, like to the point where it becomes detrimental. So I think him being surrounded by the boys, it might actually be really good for him.
Can I like say really bad swears on here? Is that allowed?
Dude, have you? I literally say I'll fuck somebody's dad, and you
All
just
right,
asked me that.
I mean, I think once Twistzz gets called a cunt like the 10th time in a row, like then he'll like show some teeth, and then that team will like work out. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like
yeah, the banter, the banter.
They're gonna break him. They're gonna break him. Like that's what they need to do. Is like for this guy who's just so yeah. And I hear the same thing. I hear that he's just such a nice guy. Like they're gonna once they break him and then build him back up again. Like then you're gonna have the player that's like in game. Like just he can do it. He can handle it. So
yeah. Fucking that could be a really good fit. I think that would actually be a phenomenal fit for him. Like how that team played around JKS and
yeah. I don't know who the coach is though. I don't know who the coach is because
Kassad,
because we stole
Kassad's with Cloud9. Have they announced anybody of a coach? No, they have somebody. Wait, Putty?
Oh,
dude,
that'd be really good. That'd be really good. I like that. I like that. Dude, Elma Putty, with the H100G boys and Twistzz knowing NA.
That'd be good. That actually, I like that fit.
I like this. This is some good stuff.
Yeah, somebody sign me. I'll be your GM for exchange. No, that could be really fun.
Isn't Guild Esports also supposed to enter into CSGO? Maybe Guild Esports needs to go sign.
Yeah, they got 40 million, I heard. Smile.
Yeah, maybe they should go sign that.
Half of that's got to go to fucking Beckham, but they got 40 mil.
God. So some of these moves. Here's the funny thing.
I like that. No, that's my favorite one yet. Like I'm marking this one for CeRq. Twistzz to the boys and bring in Elma Putty to coach the boys. That would be fucking yes. That's good. That's good shit.
Oh no. No. Did you just see Autimatic's tweet as we were talking?
Wait, what is it?
Oh man. He goes, never thought I'd be spending my entire player break playing a game made by Riot.
Oh no. Oh no, he's baiting. He's baiting.
No. Chat.
He's baiting.
I don't feel good.
No, Tim's baiting.
He's not baiting. Remember that time that he was playing Fortnite and everyone thought he was going to switch to Fortnite? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was a great time. That was
Tim's a baiter. Like he's legit a troll. Fucking, it's like almost as bad as Vanity tweeting out the signed GIF emoji when he signed with an agency. My God.
So funny. So funny. I love him.
Who the hell are the boys? X100 Thieves, X Renegades, the boys. They're the boys. All right, so we actually indirectly talked about where 100 Thieves will go, so that's kind of fun. Would you? Okay, let's just do this like in one big stroke here. We'll go international.
Okay.
We already talked about Liquid, but top 10. Do you touch many of these rosters?
I touch Navi, 100%. I have to.
Yeah, but what do you do?
That's the problem. They've plateaued. This team has plateaued. They just stop. They get to top. They get to top 3 and they just stop. They have no right. Like who am I really changing? Like,
I don't know.
Flamey.
Everybody will say Flamey, but you put in Bit and it wasn't really that much better. Flamey just plays. Okay, Flamey has 2 problems. Wildly inconsistent. That's fine. I would agree with that. But he also does play a lot of non-sexy roles with Perfecto.
He does.
And I'm not saying that gives you a pass and that you get to play or be inconsistent, but
what if you brought in someone like Yakandar?
He's good. I don't know enough about what roles he plays, though. I don't know, like, I know statistically he's a good player, but I don't know, like, his style, so I don't know how well he'd fit. Or, yeah.
Like, in the past 2 months, let's see, 96 maps played, 1.17 rating, 0.7 kills per round, 63% headshot rate. Like, this dude is insane.
He plays the same roles as Electronic. They also, yeah,
Oh, he
chat brings
does?
up a good point. Like VP has been on quite the upswing. Like
They've been
if you're
insane.
VP, right? Like if you're VP. Oh wait, hold on.
When did Vikander join them?
Like,
That's my question.
I'm
Like,
not sure.
Was it he? Oh, he came from Pro 100. Oh, in May.
Like they're top 20 now, man. They're almost they were top 10. They went down like 2 rankings.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I think most players. I'm sure like Navi is better than VP. Absolutely. I'm not gonna like try to make it seem like, you know, VP's the more appealing team. But also, like, when you surge with a team like VP did this year, they went from people forgot that VP existed to they're going to be getting.
Well,
they're
to be
going to
fair,
get.
we all memed on them.
Yeah, they're going to get direct invites for all of 2021 because of their performance this year. Whether they perform just as well, who the fuck knows? But regardless, they've been surging and they've been excelling as a team. And I think when you're in that kind of environment, I think a lot of players value that. Like if Navi went and like approached him or whoever is just like, hey, we want to bring you in for so and so, you might not like want to be in that situation. Also, everybody knows like when you're on the team with Simple is not toxic like he used to be. I'm not gonna say that, but there's like a shadow. No, like there's like an expectation on Simple's team that like every time you lose, it's not Simple's fault, and it's true. So like there's the blame if you like there's it's not a great situation because you literally know the best player in Counter-Strike is on that roster, and every time they lose any fucking game, any map, they're not looking at him, they're looking at the 4 motherfuckers around him. Like we are right now. Like who do we make it? Yeah, we're like Navi's number like a top 3 team in the world, but we're talking about replacing a player because we know that with how good individually Simple is, you have to make a change. Yeah. Like so, and as a professional player, do you want to throw yourself into that situation where every single game is critiqued, magnified, and talked about because of your teammate who is the best or arguably one of the best in CSGO?
I want to push back on this a little bit. When was the last time we actually had a critical discussion about Flamey's role in Navi?
Let's be honest with ourselves. At least when I co-stream every game, my chat is super critical of Flamey. Most of the people that I see, most people understand now that Perfecto is a fantastic pickup for this roster and has been really solid.
That was a good move.
Electronic is Electronic. Electronic is what Flamey was supposed to be. And I don't know if people really want to go at Boomich because Boomich seems like the most positive player in their team atmosphere and he's their IGL. So, like, I think a lot of eyes go directly to Flamey because the other players, they might be a part of the problem. We don't really know the inner team dynamic of why they can't, like, seem to break through all, like, consistently. But at least to me, it always goes back to Flamey because he's inconsistent.
So I mean, the 2 best players though upcoming from Russia are CeRq and Axel. Is that how Ax on Gambit?
I don't know enough about. I'm really bad with the CIS like whole region.
Well, see, what's great is that I have M&Ms and Martin, who both are, and Carbon Dogma, who are Liquipedia fiends, and so they always let me know
so he's on Gambit?
Like CeRq is our new god. Yeah, they're on Gambit.
Okay.
So let me know that CeRq is our new god, and Axel is also like if there was to be like a young player of the year,
bro, they
like,
look hella young.
One of those
Holy
2.
Shit.
I think they're like
they look like they just got out of high school, man. Like especially with the Gambit like shirts, like with the collars, they literally look.
Oh yeah, well, CeRq is 19 and CeRq's 19 and Axel is 18. Like, and look at Axel's like rating. He's 1.25 in the last 3 months. Like
you said, CeRq.
Axel has a 1.25 in the last 3 months.
18
and CeRq and CeRq is 130 in the past 3 months.
Yeah, and they're hanging with VP. Oh yeah, that's true. MC brings up a good point. They were the Gambit youngsters before they became Gambit, so makes sense, I guess. Right. Dude, fucking.
It's like they've been really, really solid. And I think that this could be a team.
Who?
I mean,
Okay,
those two
so
players could be
we got derailed.
picked up. Oh, we
Navi,
always do.
Navi.
Okay, okay, go back. Does Heroic need to make a change? I'm glad that Twistzz is now getting his full like applauding as a legitimate like incredible player. Like, man deserves it.
If I'm
He's
Heroic,
great.
I don't make a move. Not because there might not potentially be better players, especially when you're talking about Danish Counter-Strike. But if you haven't learned from North yet, like when things are going good and they've had a massive year, maybe just like chill for a minute. You know what I mean? It's not like, I'd rather like err on the side of caution and like let them truly, if this was like a one-off year, like let them show that. Don't just like get rid of or make changes. Yeah. That's what I would do, because yeah, everything just seems like it's been going really well for that roster. They have tournaments where they definitely, you know, look like not, you know, the surging team of 2020, but for the most part, they had an incredible year. I wouldn't fuck with this roster too much. I think there's always Danish CS that you could probably upgrade somebody individually.
Yeah.
But when things are going good, don't rock the boat. You know, same thing kind of like with Big is like, I think Big could make roster changes, but do I really want them to?
Do they need to?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like
they seem fine. I think once we get back to the LAN circuit, like it's gonna really come clear. Like
Katie and Liquid from CSGO, Alex, Op IGL.
Oh,
ooh, that's spicy. But I don't think Cadian wants to live it. He's already done the NA thing.
Yeah, that's true. See, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's very hard.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. I really like that idea.
I mean, he's not wrong. Idea. Fucking
Alex usually has smart ideas.
Alex is flexing his contract on all of us right now with his brain.
Alex has such a huge brain. I love you, Alex.
He's like, this is why I get paid the big bucks, motherfuckers. Katie and the Liquid. Like, goddamn. No.
He's like, I picked a whole team, motherfuckers.
No, I think
I can pick others.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fit, obviously. But I think that Cadian came to NA with the intention of increasing his stock to go back to Europe. I don't think he intends to go back to
NA. So for FURIA, you want to talk about FURIA for a second? Because this is I got
we're saying big Heroic, no changes, and basically you're saying Navi should make a change, but you don't really know what the fuck. What. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you.
I feel like Shiro and Axel should get picked up by Navi, but I don't know for who.
I don't know roles well enough, and I don't know those two individually enough to really like. I just fucking don't know the region well enough.
I'll just say Martin from Liquipedia should tell me what the roles are. That's all I'll say. I'm gonna put it all on Martin. Martin hasn't educated me enough. So
fair enough. So Furia's rumor is Henny's out.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So this is the fun stuff. This is some new stuff that I've been picking up lately.
Oh.
Been reading. My Portuguese has been great lately, actually. Been doing a lot of research. Been reading a lot of tweets. Been seeing some articles. So here's the deal. Henny and Lucas want to play together. Okay. So Henny and Lucas want to play 100% together. The initial idea was that Henny was going to leave FURIA and go to MIBR to be and VSM was going to be a 6-man because VSM can't play in Valve events. So they were going to keep Leo. They were going to keep VSM. They had Lucas. And so then they were going to have the Fine Fan team. And then Henny was going to play also. And they would switch out with Henny and VSM, or they'd switch out other players. But VSM then he couldn't play any of the.
I actually really like the idea, just in general, of VSM as a 6-man. I mean,
right? It makes a lot of sense.
Like that makes perfect sense for him because he can't play in majors, unfortunately, and it makes perfect. He's shown how good he still is, despite lack of experience, because he's not, been on many of the top teams, for whatever reason, fucking he's banned. He's got a vac.
Right. So I think that's the one that is going to happen. However, there have been some changes recently.
All right.
So it's not so certain anymore that Henny is actually going to be leaving FURIA. There's now questions of whether Lucas is actually going to be leaving MIBR to join FURIA as a 6th man. So
that would be better. I would like that. Henny's been a monster for FURIA.
The 2021 Tell Us Boys resolution is clearly to play with each other. Now, the question of whether it's going to be FURIA or whether it's going to be MIBR. I know that buyouts have become a bit of an issue, and it's causing some issues between FURIA and MIBR. The buyouts are probably on the upper end of what you think they are. I don't want to say numbers because people take numbers and go wild.
It's the Brazilian like law or whatever for
but it's different because this isn't dealing. It's not so much that they're fair market value for how they are. It's just a lot of money in COVID time. It's just a lot of money.
I got you.
So that's that deal. It's causing some hamstrings. Junior was supposed to be. They were well on their way. The idea was Henny goes, then they just finalize Junior. But because Henny hasn't gone yet, and now it's changed into Lucas might join FURIA. Lucas might join FURIA. Then Junior might not actually be leading Triumph. So,
bro, which I think is good. To be fair, I'm glad Junior isn't going to FURIA. For one, selfishly for North American Counter-Strike, but two, I think every time I see like a team where there's 4 players making a language adjustment for one is not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not, there's no way, like, there's no reason to do that to your team if you can avoid it. Like,
right. A lot of this should be kind of being nailed down in the next few weeks because it's going to be contract times and resetting for the next year.
Yeah.
But that's a possibility now. A lot of this is like really, really crazy.
So they're not going to mess with the 4. It's just purely like Henny rumors. They're not, I know like Vinny was thrown around at one point as like not being in the team or like moving, right? Wasn't there rumors surrounding Vinny at some point or no?
There were rumors surrounding Vinny, but
okay.
I don't know anymore what the status is on that one.
Okay, so for now, it's mostly just seems like it's Henny potentially in or out, and it's because he wants to play with his brother.
Yeah, right. That is what I've been reading from a bunch of like Brazilians right now is like, that's the deal. Now, I haven't really followed up on a lot of it, mainly because it's been Christmas and these tweets have come out at Christmas and, you know, I've had to like,
yeah, was the MIBR all tweeted like F or whatever, except for Lucas?
Oh my God, that MIBR all tweeted F, and I couldn't care enough. It was like Christmas Day or something, and I just couldn't care enough to try and take it seriously. I just was like, I had one person DM me, and they were like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Nope, not going to get involved in this one. Not going to get involved in this one. Just we're gonna sit this one out."
Oh, fucking A. All right. And somebody did mention it. They were saying why we didn't talk about Vitality. Don't touch Vitality.
Vitality's perfect.
Yeah, don't touch Vitality.
What do you need to change about Vitality?
I think we were going down the line, and we did, you know, even though we said don't talk about big or change really heroic, we didn't explicitly say that with Vitality. But no, I wouldn't. Apex, in my opinion, at least from my perspective, proved himself as an IGL. Not that he really had to, but it was more like, hey, Alex is in chat, by the way. You're not really sure if like a lot of what Vitality's doing is stuff that Alex instilled, if Apex is a really good IGL, or like if he'd be able to carry the weight of it. I think like I think the whole roster is pretty good, and the way that they've actually implemented Nivera into this roster has been a big part of their success. And yeah, I don't think they really need to make any changes. I think they've found a system that works for them, and if it ain't broken, don't fix it, you know? So just let it be, and I wouldn't touch a thing on Vitality. OG next.
OG, Issa, maybe.
Yeah, like, Issa. Well, okay, but what about? Do we know? Like, what about MBK as well? You could throw MBK into this conversation because you don't know his impact outside of the server. That's like, I'm not saying he doesn't, but you do.
Team?
Well, yeah.
Didn't he like build this team? Isn't he like the guy that they were just like, we've got MBK. It's all over, bitches. Like we run this. We're gonna run.
No, yeah, I think like it's the problem that I always have with MBK. Placing him on a team isn't to say that he's bad. It's just that I think a lot of his impact is made before they enter a server, and I don't know, you know, how big or small that is. So I think I will say, if history's taught us anything, don't get rid of MBK, because your team usually fucks up for a very long period of time.
I think here's the problem though. I think
I was just curious what you thought.
when we talk about roster changes, I think a lot of people immediately trying to look for the weak link and say, "Oh, well, this guy's bad. We should cut him."
Yeah, they go
And
for
I
the
don't think a lot of
stats. Yeah.
people. But I think the problem is, okay, sure, you're going to cut him, but for who? Right? Because you can cut anyone. Everyone always kind of gets the only point of like, oh, we should cut her, or we should make this change. But they never. I don't think a lot of people really have a full understanding of like, we need to then replace this player with, we need to replace X player with Y player, and it will improve us in 1, 2, 3 reasons. Right? We can, like, when we look at OG and we're like, oh yeah, Issa. It's like, sure, because everyone else kind of has a defined role. We kind of know what their qualities are. And as we say Issa, okay, great. But who would we replace Issa with?
Yeah, I think
Twistzz?
I think
Like,
your idea
maybe?
for Twistzz, but yeah, like even that's a maybe, right? Like
right, and say
they kind of
say
have
Twistzz
different
gets locked
roles.
up.
Yeah.
Right. And now there's all the shit going on with Godsent where they're trading everyone, but also joining FPX. It's like, what's happening there? Sunny is now moved, like all the shit that's happening there. So it's kind of a big question of changes can happen, and sometimes we think that maybe teams can make or should make changes.
Yeah, I don't even know what I do.
What's the corresponding?
I mean,
move?
maybe like like I said, I think like Twistzz for Issa, like maybe, or maybe MBK. Like if we don't know if Alexi B or like the team feels like he's not like providing as much in the server as he is out of the server, or like he's lacking in that way, maybe. But I don't know. I think overall, if I'm OG, yeah, probably same boat as like Vitality and Big and Heroic. I think there's not as solid, obviously. I mean, that's why they're 7th and not like 2nd or top 5. But they've also had a really good year. They were on a really shit trajectory for a while, especially at the start of the year. It felt like everybody else was kind of going all in on like online and just like not embracing it or like thrilled about it, but just they dove into it a bit harder than OG did at first. And then once OG kind of like took the leap, and I think Alexi was even talking about it, like nobody really knew what was going on with COVID, so I think they weren't trying to gear themselves up for online play as much. But once they did, man, they looked pretty damn good to end the year.
They did.
So
they did.
I don't know. I agree with you. I think there is more to be said about making a move in OG than like a Heroic or a Big. But I also think that there's just still some question marks in the roster as a whole, because they just haven't found like a long form of consistency this year, even though they did hit like a nice upswing.
I agree with you on that.
So
I've got to, unfortunately, I'm gonna head out, but I want to leave with 2 points here. One, AZ is literally free.
True.
And 2, MSL liquid.
Oh, maybe.
So
yeah, maybe. Okay.
So that is something that you and the chat can go talk about. AZ can fill a lot of roles for a lot of these mixed EU teams. He'd be something. Also, someone really wants me to mention that Smooya exists. Smooya does exist. I think he should be on a decent team. But
he does
I think
exist,
MSL,
but we're also talking top 10 teams, and none of these operas are really weak. So
that's also the problem.
but
MSL Liquid wouldn't. I think if MSL fully buys into living in NA and doing NA things, and they have the European boot camp, so I think an MSL Liquid wouldn't be a bad idea. So with that, I'm gonna let you go and absorb all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna peace out.
That sounds good, brother.
So see you, chat. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, of course, man.
All right. Bye.
Later, man.